Shalom, sister. Yes, 1 Thessalonians 4:16. Fully aware of what that says. Did you know he talks about it in another place? He does. So what I'm going to establish with this video is the 7 trumpets and the events that will be taking place in the 7 trumpets and which trumpet our Messiah will be returning from. So with that, let's first start with our Messiah and his words. First, we're going to start with Matthew 24, verse 29. And it makes it very clear in this passage, my dear. It says, and immediately after the tribulation of those days, meaning after the tribulation, there's a first half and there's a great tribulation, 2 halves, 3. So it says, and immediately after the distress of those days, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give its light and the stars shall fall from the heavens. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Adam shall appear in heaven. And then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn. And they shall see the Son of Adam coming in the clouds of the heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his chosen ones from the 4 winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. So which trumpet is it? You've got 1 Thessalonians 4:16, you've got Matthew 24:29 through 31. So which trumpet is it? Well, Paul gets into this. Let's go over there. Right here in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 51, he says, see, I speak a secret to you. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. See, here's the problem. We've got 7 trumpets. And he's saying here, the last trumpet. Not only that, it's mentioned in the book of Revelation, but let me finish. It says, the last trumpet, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this incorruptible has to put on incorruption, and this mortal put on immortality. So let's go over to the book of Revelation and see what happens on the last trumpet. Right here in Revelation 11, verse 15, the 7th messenger sounded, which is the trumpet, and there came to be loud voices in the heavens saying, the reign of this world has become the reign of our master and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. There it is. 1 Corinthians 15 specifically told you last trumpet, and Revelation 11:15 tells you specifically it's the last trumpet. So we're going to get into the prophets, and we're going to go through each trumpet and see what has to happen at those events. So we'll start with Revelation chapter 8, verse 7, and it says, and the first messenger sounded, and there came to be hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown to the earth, and 1/3 of the trees were burned up, and all green grass was burned up. Notice, is this talking about literal trees? Literal grass? No. Remember Peter's words, all flesh is grass. It's all prophetic speech, and you can understand this stuff in the prophets. So let's go take a look. Isaiah 32, verse 19, even when the hail shall fall, felling the forest, and the city be brought low in humiliation, blessed are you who sow beside all waters, who send on foot of the ox and the donkey. Isaiah 10, verse 17, and the light of Israel shall be for a fire, and his set apart one, our Messiah, for a flame, and it shall burn and devour his weeds and his thorn bushes in one day, and consume the esteem of his forest, of his fertile field, both life and flesh, and they shall be as when a sick man wastes away, and the remaining trees of the forest shall be so few in number that a child records them. Isaiah 40, verse 4, let every valley be raised and every mountain and hill made low, and the steep ground shall become level, and the rough places smooth. All prophetic speech. And the esteem of Yahweh shall be revealed, and all flesh together shall see it. Yeah, all flesh, all eyes will see it, guys. For the mouth of Yahweh has spoken. Who is his mouth? Who's the mouth of God? It's our Messiah. The voice said, cry out. And he said, what do I cry? All flesh is grass, and all its loving commitment is like the flower of the field. Grass shall wither, the flower shall fade when the Spirit of God has blown on it. Truly, the people is grass. Grass shall wither, the flower shall fade, but the word, who is the word that was manifested into the flesh? It was our Messiah. Of our God stands forever. Revelation 8, verse 8. And the second messenger sounded, and what looked like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea, and a third of the sea became blood, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. Where is this mentioned in prophecy, though? Ezekiel 5, verse 11 through 17 talks all about that, just that one event. Yeah, and it starts with, therefore, as I live, declares the Master God, because you have defiled my set-apart place with all your disgusting matters and with all your abominations, therefore I will also withdraw, and my eye shall not pardon, nor shall I spare. 1/3, there you go. What did that just say in Revelation 8? 1/3 of you shall die by pestilence and be consumed with scarcity of food in your midst. Oh, the 4 horsemen. And 1/3 shall fall by the sword all around you. And I shall scatter another third in all the winds and draw out a sword after them. And my displeasure shall be completed, which is the first half of the tribulation. You have the wrath, which is the last half. And you have the displeasure, or in your King James Bible is the indignation, which is the first half of the tribulation. And my displeasure shall be completed, and I shall bring my wrath to rest upon them, and I shall be eased, and they shall know that I am God, have spoken in my adore. And when I have completed my wrath upon them, and I shall make you a waste and a reproach among the nations that are all around you before the eyes of all who pass by. And it shall be a reproach and an object of scorn, a warning and an astonishment to the nations that are all around you, when I execute judgments among you in displeasure and in wrath and in heated chastisement I have spoken. When I send against them the evil arrows of scarcity of food, which shall be for their destruction, when I send to destroy you, I shall increase the scarcity of food upon you and cut off your supply of bread. And I shall send against you scarcity of food, an evil beast, and they shall berave you, and pestilence and blood shall pass through you, while I bring the sword against you. I, Yahweh, have spoken. Does that sound like a pre-trib rapture to you, my dear? We haven't even made it to the 3rd trumpet yet. We still have many more woes to go. Revelation 8, verse 10, the 3rd trumpet. And the 3rd messenger sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the fountains of water. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And a third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters because they were made bitter. Where is this mentioned in prophecy? Well, it's right here in Jeremiah 9:13. Talks about this same event, also in 9:23. It says, and Yahweh says, because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them, and had not obeyed my voice, which the voice is our Messiah, guys. He's the word. Yeah. So it continues to say, nor walked according to it. Did Yeshua not say, pick up your crosses and walk as he walked? Or the book of John? Those who say they love them ought to walk themselves as he walked. Nobody has. And that's exactly what he's saying here. My voice, nor walked according to it. But they have walked according to the stubbornness of their own heart, and have the Baals, your Trinity gods in your Sunday synagogues, which their fathers have taught them. Therefore, thus said Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, see, I am making this people eat wormwood, and I shall make them drink poisoned water. And I shall scatter them among the nations when they neither they nor their fathers have known, and I shall send a sword after them until I have consumed them. Again, Jeremiah 23:13. And I have seen folly in the prophets of Shomron. They prophesied by Baal, your Trinity God, and led my people Israel astray. And among the prophets of Jerusalem, I have seen a horrible matter, committing adultery and walking in falsehood. And they strengthened the hands of evil ones so that no one turns back from his evil. All of them are like Sodom to me, and her inhabitants like Gomorrah. Therefore, thus said Yahweh of hosts concerning the prophets, see, I am making them eat wormwood, and shall make them drink poisoned water, for defilement has gone out into all the land from the prophets of Jerusalem. So does this mean literally drinking poisoned water? No. He's talking about poison doctrine, people. He's causing them to drink poison doctrine because you guys have chosen to walk after your own paths, and you can't come out of what's called the strong delusion that you should believe a lie. He will send you over to a strong delusion that you should believe a lie. See, I am making them eat wormwood and shall make them drink poison waterment, for defilement has gone out into all the land from the prophets, because they lied. And he sent them over to a strong delusion so that they would be damned. Ah, yes, the fourth trumpet. We're not even done yet. And the fourth messenger sounded, and a third of the sun was struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them were darkened, and a third of the day did not shine, and likewise the night. And I looked, and I heard an eagle flying in mid-heaven, crying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to those dwelling upon the earth, because of the remaining blast of the trumpet of the three messengers who are about to sound. Right here in Ezekiel 32, verse 3. Thus said the Master God, and I shall spread my net over you with an assembly of many peoples, the flooding of mighty waters. Different prophecy, but that's coming. And they shall bring you up in my net, and I shall leave you on the land, hurl you out in open fields, and make all the birds of the heavens dwell on you. And with you I shall satisfy the beast of all the earth. Oh, remember the great wedding supper of the Lamb? Come ye beasts and birds and feast. And I shall put your flesh on the mountains, and fill the valleys with the height, and the water, and water the land with the flow of your blood unto the mountains, and let the streams be filled with you. Oh, the blood will be up to the horses' bridles. And when I extinguish you, I shall cover the heavens and make its stars dark, and I shall cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give off her light. And the bright lights of the heavens I shall make dark over you, and I shall bring darkness upon your land, declares Master Yahweh. Oh, my favorite one, which is the locust army. Revelation 9, verse 1, the fifth messenger sounded, and I saw a star fall from the heaven, which had fallen to the earth, and the key to the pit of the deep was given to it. And he opened the pit of the deep, and smoke went up out of the pit like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun was darkened, also the air, because of all the smoke of the pit. And out of the smoke locusts came upon the earth. And authority was given to them, as the scorpions of the earth possess authority. And it was said to them that they shall not harm the grass of the earth, or any green matter, or any tree, but only those men who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. And it was given to them that they should not unalive them, but to torture them for 5 months. And their torture was like the torture of a scorpion when it stings a man. And in those days men shall seek unalivement and shall not find it. And they shall long to die, but death shall flee from them. And the locusts looked like horses prepared for battle, and on their heads were crowns like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. And they had hair like woman's hair, and their teeth were like lion's teeth. And they had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of many chariots, horses running into battle. And they have tails like scorpions, and stings in their tails, and is their authority to harm men 5 months. And they have over them a sovereign, the messenger of the pit of the deep, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek his name is Apollyon. The first woe is past. See, 2 woes are still coming after this. Joel chapter 1 verse 3. The whole chapter 1 is all parables, every bit of it. But it gets a little bit more in depth in chapter 2. So I'm going to just grab your attention with chapter 1, and then we're going to go over to chapter 2. It says, relate it to your children, and your children to their children, and their children to the generation after them, what the gnawing locust left, the swarming locust has eaten, and what the swarming locust left, the crawling locust has eaten, and what the crawling locust left, the consuming locust has eaten. The locust army. And it talks a lot more about this locust army. In chapter 2, it says, blow a shofar, a trumpet, in Zion, and sound an alarm in my set-apart mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the earth tremble, everybody. For the day of Yahweh is coming, for it is near, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness, like the morning clouds spread over the mountains. A people, many and strong, like of whom has never been, nor shall there ever be again after them. To the years of many generations ahead of them, a fire has consumed, and behind them a flame burns. Before them the land is like the Garden of Eden, and behind them a desert waste, and from them there is no escape. Their appearance is like the appearance of horses. We just read that. And they run like steeds, and the noise of chariots. They leap over mountaintops as the noise of a flaming fire, consuming stubble as a mighty people set in battle array. Before them peoples are in anguish, all faces become flush. They run like mighty men, they climb the wall like men of battle. Everyone goes on his way, and they do not break their ranks. Well, we're nowhere near Messiah yet. It says in Revelation 9:13, and the 6th messenger sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden slaughter place, which is before God, saying to the 6th messenger who had the trumpet, release the 4 messengers, those have been bound in the great river Euphrates, and the 4 messengers, those having been prepared for the hour and day and month and year, were released to unalive a third of mankind. And the number of the armies of the horsemen was 200 million. And I heard the number of them. And this is how I saw the horses in the vision, those who sat on them having breastplates of fiery red, and Hinkatha blue, and sulfur yellow. And the heads of the horses were like the heads of lions, and out of their mouths came fire and smoke and sulfur. A third of mankind was unalive by these 3 plagues, by the fire and the smoke and sulfur which came out of their mouths. For the authority of the horses is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails are like serpents having heads, and with them they do harm. And the rest of mankind, who were not unalive by these plagues, did not repent of their works of their hands, that they should not worship the demons of idols of gold and of silver and of brass and of stone and of wood, which are neither able to see nor hear nor walk. What was that said in Revelation about the 4 horns? Zechariah 1 verse 18, and I lifted up my eyes and looked, and I saw 4 horns. And I said to the messenger who was speaking to me, what are these? And he said to me, these are the horns that have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. And Yahweh showed me 4 craftsmen. And I said, what are these coming to do? And he spoke, saying, these are the horns that scattered Judah, so that no one lifted up its head. But these come to trouble them, to throw down the horns of the nations that lifted up their horn against the land of Judah, to scatter it. It's also mentioned in Daniel 7 verse 2. Daniel spoke and said, I was looking in my vision by night and saw the 4 winds of the heavens stirring up the great sea. And the 4 great beasts came up from the sea, different from one another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. And I was looking until its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the earth and made it stand on 2 feet like a man. And it was given a man's heart. And see another beast, a second like a bear. And it was raised up on one side and had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And they said this to it, arise and devour much flesh. After this I looked and saw another like a leopard, which on its back 4 wings of a bird. The beast also had 4 heads, and the rule was given to it. After this I looked in the night vision and saw a 4th beast, fearsome, burly, exceedingly strong, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and crushed and trampled down the rest with its feet. And it was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. All these calamities that you just heard, every single person on the earth have to endure before the Messiah comes. Prophecy makes it very clear. The 7th trumpet, the last trumpet, then will we be gathered. But it won't be everybody. It'll only be the 144,000, those who were sealed in their forehead. The woman who gave birth to the man-child and was caught up to heaven was 144,000. But the woman that went into the wilderness to hide is the remnant. You guys have been taught very falsely in the Sunday church, guys. We have to go through every bit of this to be refined and tried as silver is tried in a furnace. Every single human being has to be tested on this earth, and there is no getting out of it. There is no pre-trib rapture. This is a time of the nations, a reset of the world, and the world is going to burn, and there will only be few men left. Isaiah 10:21, a remnant shall return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. For though your people, O Israel, be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return, a decisive end overflowing with righteousness. So guys, it's all there for you. It's all right there. It specifically tells you in the prophets everything you need to know in the book of Revelation. We are not going to be pre-trib raptured out of here. Every single person on this earth has to be refined and tried. No one's getting out of it. This pre-trib rapture lie that came from the church came to deceive you. So when you see this calamity falling upon the face of the earth, you'll lose your faith, you'll bow your head down, and you'll take that Antichrist mark, because what else do you have? You thought you were going to get sucked up out of here. Your will has been broken, and you're at this point, you're willing to accept anything, because what is there to believe anymore? The Bible's untrue. No, the Bible's not untrue. You've just been taught lies. Wake up, church. Shalom.